Hi everybody, guess what? It's Christmas! Oh wait, we already did that. Let's do something different. Yeah. As you all know, there aren't that many video games that actually deal with Christmas, but that's okay. There is one game though, to me, always captured the feeling of Christmas any time of the year. And that's Knight's Journey of Dreams. For the Wii. Let's do this. Knight's Journey of Dreams is the long-awaited sequel to the beloved cult classic, Knight's Into Dreams. Seriously, people really wanted a sequel. It was even featured on G4's Filter episode ranking games that needed a sequel back in 2003. What? You never heard of it? Yeah, you and everybody else. In North America, Knight's Journey of Dreams came out on December 18th, 2007, a whole 11 years after the first game. I never got a chance to play Knight's Into Dreams at the time, so I was super pumped to at least play its successor. So, how come no one really talks about it? Seriously, with how much people clamored for a sequel, when it came out, no one acknowledged it. Was it really such a cult series? Well, I don't have an answer for that, so let's just talk about the game itself. For those not in the know, Knights is a game about two children suffering from nightmares only to escape into the world of dreams. From here, they fly around with the resident knights and fight off nightmaren who are trying to destroy the world of dreams. I've always enjoyed games that take on the concept of dreams in dream worlds like Klonoa, so there's a plus for Knights. And while my quick overview of the story sounds simple, it gets quite complicated in the actual game, and that's not a good thing. Let's just start with the boy Will and his adventure. Will suffers from nightmares depicting his father leaving him alone with a bunch of kids who laugh at him. While child me was quick to make fun of Will's nightmare, current me understands it a lot better. He clearly suffers from social anxiety and prefers to spend time with his father, who, as far as I can tell, is a single parent trying to make time for his son, but also has to work hard for them to probably get by the way they do. There's also that touch of fear of having to leave the nest and face the real world alone. Overall, it's pretty great stuff here. I'm digging it. Now, Will has escaped the monsters and has entered, oh boy, some ugly graphics. The game has some ugly graphics for its time. I mean, if this game came out on the PlayStation 2, it'd be really impressive, but it's not. Unfortunately, ugly graphics are nothing new for the Wii. I remember there being a rumor that this game was originally meant to come out on the 360, and I'd believe it. Everyone was trying to make HD games on the system that was on par with the last console generation. Luckily, good art direction saves this game from looking utterly terrible. Most of the levels look great, I'm enjoying them. Anyways, from here we meet Owl, a completely unnecessary character who does nothing more than make this game overcomplicated. According to Owl, the dream world is a separate dimension that can only be visited by people when they are sleeping. Okay. He also tells you that every visitor has 5 pieces of their hearts that make them whole called Idia. They are courage, purity, intelligence, growth, and hope. Okay, check. Nightmaren are creatures that cause nightmares in order to steal away the Idia of the visitors for some reason. Okay. And that one's Idia creates the worlds called Netopias that reflect the visitor's inner psyche thing. Gotcha. Because Will only possesses the Idia of Courage, he can only visit one Netopia until he can claim back his others. Alright. Also, there are these little gnome-like creatures called Netopians that live in these worlds who do nothing but get in trouble and make baby noises. Great. Now, imagine all of this information, only with a bunch of extra bullcrap, and you get how overly complicated this game can actually get. Seriously, I haven't even touched on what the villains are doing, which, by the by, is not stealing the visitor's Idia, even though it's set up like this big plot point. So we also meet Knights, a carefree resident of the dream world. And hello again to the weird voice filter from Spyro Dawn of the Dragon.
Hey, now this one looks interesting.
To be fair though, Knights is the only one with this weird filter, and I think it's there to make Knights sound gender neutral. Which Knights is. I don't care if they say he. Knights has always been gender neutral. Anyways, Knights is all like, hey, let's duelize! And Will's like, duel? And Knights is like, duelize, you uncultured swine! And then we get this gem.
It's probably much easier to understand if you just try it. Go over and touch Knights. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, I don't know what dualize means to you people, but I ain't going to dream prison. I'm a child, for God's sake. I can't even believe I'm out of here. No! Well, turns out dualizing is just a fancy term for fusing with knights. I'm still going to dream prison for this. But now we can finally talk about the gameplay. In this game, you fly around through rings and collect blue chips to rack up points. That's about it. That's the main gameplay anyways. It's simple, but it's a lot of fun. You can either control knights like a normal person with a controller, or you can try to control knights with motion controls. You're gonna play with a controller. My only gripe with the controls is the fact that your thumb can easily slide off the nunchuck when you're stuck holding it right 90% of the time. But other than that, it's fine. As we finally finish the intro tutorial, we enter the first Netopia, based on a park Will and his father would visit, and we meet our main nightmare, Riella. Riella and Knight seem to know each other, and even look kind of similar. It's probably just coincidence. It'll be important later. Anyways, Knights is easily captured and put in a cell where you have to break them out. Then steal the key from the guard so you can break the cell. Okay, I guess. Oh, and then you have to go through 2 other cells and steal the 2 other keys to keep Knights from getting, teleported to them? What?
No matter what you say, it sounds crazy.
Just don't question it, since this is literally how every single Nighttopia's first mission goes. After you save Knights, you get a demo of what the boss of that Nightopia is. Will's first nightmare boss is a clown that you must bounce up to some spikes at the top. Simple enough. From there we have 3 more missions before the 5th one, which is just a longer version of the boss fight you just did. The second mission is chasing after an octopus called Octopod that leaves behind rings so you can get a long chain of links going. Every Netopia also has this mission. The third mission involves paralooping Nighttopians before they get sucked into a black hole. Oh yeah, Knights can leave a trail of sparkles, and when they connect, it creates like this little mini black hole thing that you can use to collect blue chips and stuff, defeat Nightmarins, and save Nighttopians. We'll touch on what happens to the last 2 eventually. From there, we go to a river that suddenly picks up speed and starts to wash up the Nighttopians.
Well, then we'll just have to use that to our advantage then, won't we? Huh? What do you mean?
Okay, you know what? I'm tired of that overused bit in video game cutscenes. Sonic pulled this crap too. When would it ever be okay to just give someone the thumbs up without any further dialogue in a dire situation? Oh no! There's a bomb and I have no idea how to defuse it! What are we gonna do? Anyways, Knights also has the ability to transform. For this mission, Knights becomes a boat for Will to save the Nighttopians with. It's pretty fun. I already explained the boss, so we won't talk about him anymore. After we defeat him, Will regains his purity and a new Nightopia appears. We also get a cutscene from the true villain, Wiseman, scolding Riella for failing to capture Knights. That's the main objective of our villains. Not to destroy the world, not to steal the idiot, just to capture Knights. Even when Riella brings up the idiot, Wiseman's all like, whatever, you're just making excuses. I'm a bland villain who can't play patty cake. Yeah, the villains are designed well, just not written well. Let's take a break from Will's story and focus on our other protagonist, Helen. Helen starts off having a nightmare of ditching violin practice with her mom to hang out with her friends, and then her guilt literally attacks her. Yeah, as far as dream interpretation goes, Helen's nightmare is pretty on the nose. There's not much to say for now anyways. I will say that I did find Helen's plotline more engaging overall when compared to Will though. I mean heck, even the opening cutscene with Owl is simpler and easier to follow. We even get some foreshadowing of some dark sea that may or may not take one's soul. And to top it all off, before Helen can even get to the door to her Nightopia, Riella freaking slams Knights, threatens Helen, and then takes Knights with him. To be immediately put in a cell with no supervision. What's even more interesting is how similar storylines differ from Will to Helen. And while I know the internet will hate me for saying this, I think it has a little to do with the two's gender. For the most part, Will is seen as a bit of a blank slate emotionally speaking. Everyone tells him how to feel and act and stuff. With Helen, though, everyone says, "No, this is too much for you to handle," and it's Helen who goes in anyways. Part of me feels like Helen embodied the idea of courage way more than Will did. I think it would have been more interesting if Will had a different idea, like, I don't know, purity or something. But what do I know? To be fair, I suppose these differences could also reflect the two's character. Will is afraid of change and doing anything outside his comfort zone. Helen, on the other hand, seems to have no issue with putting herself out there. Either way, I think we can all agree that Helen appears stronger than Will because she had to choose to save NiGHTS herself. She does, unfortunately, have probably the worst voice acting in the game.
I wanted to help you.
This could be due to the director, though. Helen's first Netopia is based on a beach. Like Will, her first level serves as an introduction to the world, and the boss, a giant night fish with a mustache. You know, one of the most well-known fears? You pop them and then paraloop the balloons, then make them up until there's nothing left. Her second level involves bumping balls of water together to make a ball bigger than owls. What? It's okay-ish. I think they just wanted to play with the physics. We then get to the octopus stage, and then a level where you have to play as Helen by herself. While I appreciate the thought of these levels, Helen's jumping arc is weird, and the only way to defend yourself is to blindly throw blue chips, and there's no way to move the camera around to see your surroundings. It's not the worst thing in the world, but I could see it really breaking up the flow of the game. And the last mission is the boss, only harder. And to be honest, that kind of wraps up the whole gameplay. Every Netopia Will goes to has an intro stage, an octopus stage, a limited night stage, a vehicle stage, and then the longer version of the boss. All of Helen's Netopias have an intro stage, an octopus stage, a limited night stage, a walking around as Helen stage, and its true boss battle thing. The limited night missions are the only ones that can break the mold, so I'll spend a bit of time talking about them as I continue through the story. So back to Will. His second Netopia is a desert theme park with one giant beanstalk-looking tree surrounded by a small lake in the center. Here, Reala captures NiGHTS by threatening Will's life. He then sends Will through a black hole thing similar to like the darkness from Kingdom Hearts. Will then finds himself in a giant mirror house. After getting literally nowhere, a voice calls out to him. It turns out this place is part of Helen's second Netopia. One cutscene, a transition back to the hub, and a transition back to the first mission later, we get to save NiGHTS. What Reala had to attend to that was more important than taking NiGHTS away is beyond me. He had pretty much all the time in the world. Wow. In this Netopia, the boss is a magician chameleon that has a boss fight that can just screw right off. It is hard and unfair, and I don't even know how I won. The limited NiGHTS level has NiGHTS transforming into a dolphin to break chains connected to bombs that would destroy the tree. Oh yeah, after every Netopia is completed, NiGHTS unlocks a new persona that transforms NiGHTS from a dolphin, a rocket ship, and eventually a dragon. They're cool, but mostly underutilized outside of a few missions. It's at this point the game reveals that each Netopia reflects its visitors. For example, the Desert Netopia is a manifestation of Will's loneliness. Conquering the side of him grants him the idea of intelligence.
I can feel it filling my mind.
Yeah, okay, Will. For Helen, we go to a Netopia made entirely of glass, mirrors, and other reflective surfaces. Also, NiGHTS is wearing a mask. I wonder if this will be important later. Here we discover that this world of glass is fragile and lonely just like Helen, and poor NiGHTS had to break the news to her. NiGHTS then had to get captured once again, leading to the first level that also includes a couple of gimmicks I find charming. I don't know if you will, I liked them. From here we have a boss fight with a cat lady witch. Well, at least we're getting back to some more traditional nightmares. Though the way you fight her is by grabbing parts of the platform to roll her snake cats into holes. Yeah, it's not that great. As you probably figured by now, Helen's alone stage involves her finding Will and offering to help him return to his world. It's kinda nice to see her side of the story. This level is a bit of an escort mission, but you don't have to worry about Will. He'll keep up. The limited NiGHTS stage here involves flying around in a circle to catch jewels spewing out of a volcano. Why?
Jewels that glimmer with the light of an idiot. They're part of the idiot. If they are lost, then so too is Netopia.
Yeah, this is that bullcrap I mentioned earlier. There was a weenie connection to the tree with Will's Netopia thing too. It's dumb. Don't worry about it. It's whatever. I did enjoy the bit with Helen getting frightened while dualized with knights, though. It adds nothing to the story, but I thought it was cute. The last Netopia of Will's is a brightly lit city surrounded by slot machines and pool and stuff. From here, both Will and Helen have grown stronger and now must face harder challenges, like finding out Knights' secret. For Will, we get to watch Riala talk to Knights that goes nowhere outside of bluntly mentioning that Knights is a fellow nightmare and what? Is that why they looked so similar? We do get a mold breaker with a direct fight with Riala, though, where you can grab explosive balls and throw them at each other. It's not as much fun as it sounds, if it even sounds like fun. The battle ends with Riala still capturing Knights and promptly leaving for an actual reason this time. Will thinks for, I don't know, like 5 seconds about whether to help Knights out, and then immediately helps Knights out. From there, we do get a boss fight with a character that's actually built up in story. Cerberus! He's pretty easy to beat, though. So whatever. Everyone seems afraid of him, though, whatever. The limited Knights stage this time has Knights navigating a top-down area of the city, killing Nightmaren that have invaded. We also get a bit of info about Will. Although he has his fears, Will does want to grow up and take on the world as an adult. It could seem a little out of left field, but this is a Will who's grown up a bit. Instead of a vehicle level, Will gets an alone level in this Netopia, like Helen. He finds Helen with a twisted ankle and offers to help her back to her world like she did for him. This level, while plagued with the usual problems, does have some puzzle platforming since Helen can't make 20 feet jumps with a twisted ankle. We do find out that something bad has happened over in her story, though Will gives her some advice that he learns to take himself, which finishes up the whole Knights is a nightmare and thing for him. Helen's last Netopia is a forest filled with memories she had long forgotten. I actually find it interesting that, at the end, Will has to look forward, while Helen looks back. It's just something to think about. Fun times don't last for long, however, as Riala decides to reveal Knights' true identity in the most backstabby, dramatic way. Knights is a nightmare and like me! And it was Knights' job to get close to you to steal your Opia! Hey, that factoid came back. And when Helen doesn't believe Riala, we get some evidence! The mask! I told you it was important! And Knights decides not to stand up and explain things rationally, leading Helen to be warped away to Will's Netopia along with getting themselves captured again. For not much reason outside of Will saying, "Trust your friend," Helen decides to stand up for Knights and help them escape. While we all know Knights isn't evil, I do wish that both Will and Helen got to properly talk to Knights about this revelation. Maybe we could have gotten a backstory or something. Instead, both just shrug it off and pretend like nothing happened. Helen's last boss is a spider that you have to destroy by playing Breakout with the platforms underneath her. I like the design. It's still like a boss fight, but whatever. It's not the worst one. Helen still gets an alone stage, and has a level in which you hit music notes to play the theme of Knights. I love this level, even though I am quite bad at it. I just appreciate the music. I also appreciate that Knights only offered to play when Helen was feeling guilty about ditching her mom. It's just something. There's little tidbits like that all throughout this game. At the end of these Nighttopias, both Will and Helen get the idea of growth, which is fitting for the characters at this point. We then have the last level leading up to the showdown with Wiseman himself. This level's a lot of fun and is probably the best looking in my opinion. If you don't have all the missions with a rank of C or higher, then you'll only get an abridged version of the end. The main differences include a mini boss fight with Riala, and one last bit of drama. Here's a spoiler warning. I wasn't going to talk about the ending much since I want people to play this game, but I do have a couple of words I want to say. Right before you take on Wiseman, he reveals that if he's destroyed, all of his creations die with him, i.e. Knights. The kids don't want that, but Knights more or less talks them into it. Personally, as a creator myself, I never understood the idea of a creation dying alongside its creator. if I die tomorrow, that doesn't mean this video no longer exists. The creations I leave behind will continue to hopefully entertain viewers even after the end. That being said, as I write this at 3 in the morning, I do also see that Dream World stuff may not relate exactly to what I'm talking about. I mean, since Nights is a nightmarean and the kids are freeing themselves from nightmares, Nights can no longer live in their consciousness? But wait, this is a world that exists regardless of the visitor's input according to Owl. Oh, whatever, it's sad and good drama, I guess I'll just drop it. Before I wrap up my final thoughts, let's cover the bonus content. Getting all A's earns you a sound test for Will of both this game and the first Nights game. And if you get all A's in Helen, you get a concept art book thingy in-game. It's cool. There are these little dream drops that are in every level, and when you collect all of them, you can actually change the protagonist from Helen and Will to Elliot and Clarice from the first Nights game. It's neat. I mean, I've seen worse completion bonus thingies. There's a multiplayer mode that allows players to race and battle in 3 areas each. That kills a little bit of time. I mean, it's fun, player 2 gets to be Reala, but, I mean, it's kind of shallow, so... I think that's everything. What else am I forgetting? Oh yeah, the most worthless part of all, the Dream Garden thingy. You know what? This thing is so worthless, I'm not even going to write a script for this part. I'm just going to say it like it is, so here we go. Thanks, past me, for not writing this. So, remember when I mentioned about Nighttopians being saved when you paralooped and Nightmares being defeated when you paralooped them? What actually has happened is you're teleporting them to your Dream Garden thing. Now, imagine the Chow Garden from, like, Sonic Adventure series, only just wrong. Everything is wrong. The world is just this big empty place, and you just have random crap lying around from different levels that you played that don't do anything. You can't really interact with much of it. And then there's just these little guys. You can't raise them. You can't give them anything. All you can do is throw blue chips at them to keep them from dying. And the Nightmarean, if they're in there, they'll most likely eat the Nightopians. So you can defeat the Nightmarean that are sucked in there. But you can also have the Nightmarean and the Nightopians make a baby. I thought it was just some internet rumor, but it's true. I have proof. There's a monster baby in my town thing. Also, to keep them from dying, you have a little patch of grass that you just put them in a coma forever. And therefore you'll never have to worry about them dying. You can just leave them forever. And there's like a door that you can use the internet and play with someone else, go to their town, or they can come to your town thing. And you can't talk to each other. And it's dumb. And they discontinued the internet service anyway, so what does it matter? It's bad and dumb and worthless and does nothing but, it doesn't add anything to this game. Just, you're not even gonna use it, just don't even. I mean, I don't even know what enjoyment you can get out of that. At the end of the day, there's a lot more I like in this game than I dislike. And to be honest, this game kinda reminded me of the Sega of the early 2000s. Where you'd get a game that brought a lot to the table, and then they'd refine it in the sequel. I like the changes they made with the basic gameplay. I would really like to see another sequel to the series that refines the gameplay and story even further. But then again, this is the Sega of today, and if they treat Nights anywhere close to how they handle Sonic, it may not be the best idea right now. But hey, you never know. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next year. Hi, everybody. Thanks a bunch for watching the video on Nights Journey of Dreams. I was kind of off and on about whether or not I was going to, talk about this game now, but I felt like it matched this time of year. So, I hope you guys are all having a great time. Even if you don't celebrate Christmas, it's a great excuse to just chill with people you care about, or by yourself if you don't care about. If you just care about yourself, alone time's good too. So we have some videos. There's top 5 rivals, and then there's my Halloween special on Maui Mallard in Cold Shadow. Go around, and that's my gift to you this holiday season. Videos I posted months before. So yeah, it's Special thanks to my sister, who is holding the camera. That's an inside joke we have now. And for also, like, using her arm and stuff to do other things, yeah, other than holding the camera. And yeah, I think that's everything, right? Okay, so thanks again, everybody. Thanks again, everybody. Until next time. Well then. It's hot in Florida. It's Christmas.